My next guest now we have on the studio hotline. It is James Wallman. He's a father, he's an author and a futurist and economist. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks, Dan. Great to hear you.
Yeah, lovely to hear your voice. And today our talking points are phrases, maybe mottos and idioms, and what people are looking at forward to once this pandemic has blown over.
Well, I think that's a good thing to look at, because at the moment people feel frustrated, cooped up, bored. The research that I've done with ACCOR is very clear. We've had enough. We've had enough of this year. And so the phrase of the year, Dan, is when this is all over.
Yeah, I've got that written down on my notes. We're going to come to that. I want to counter that by saying it is what it is. How many times do you hear that every day? It is what it is.
I reckon I hear it about once or twice a week. I've got one friend that says it. Yeah.
And these phrases, like what will be, do they kind of have negative connotations to them? When someone says it, is it their kind of way of a red herring, kind of saying to the other person to change the talking point in a way?
What, like what will be, will be?
Yeah, when you're having a conversation and someone says it is what it is, there's no further kind of conversation to come from that in a way.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting point, but I feel that's a kind of thing of acceptance. You feel like this year where everyone's feeling like this real, frustration. Acceptance is such an important part of life. So sort of saying, well, and here we are, because we're so lucky. It's really easy to moan and groan, and isn't it awful? But we're not fighting a front with anybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's with this virus, but not with some other group of people, which is, we're very lucky.
Yeah, true.
But at the same time, it doesn't feel lucky all the time. It feels really frustrating. We want to go on holiday. We want to go away.
I suppose by comparison to other places in the world and people, like we are fortunate. And you mentioned when this is all over, 70% have said this. 70% have said that expression during the events of 2020. 6 million people saying it on a daily basis.
Well, I'm going to challenge you there, because the thing is, it's 13% of people. And I looked up the numbers. I checked this out last night. It's actually, I worked this out. It's 8.6 million people are turning to their partner or their friend and saying, when this is all over. And I think that says, in fact, if you saw this, there's 85% of 25 to 34-year-olds are saying it. Everybody is like, when this is all over. Because I think what we want is we want the chink at the end. We want the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think there's a certain, there's a bias towards optimism in most humans. Otherwise, no one would start a business. No one would try something new. There is a bias for this. And I think we live in the kind of country that's kind of quite creative. We have to be, we have a strong, interesting economy where you've got to get up and do something. And so when this is all over, I'm going to do something. Because that's also a sense of, it's sort of taking back, don't say taking back control, right? I don't want to get into that debate, but it's kind of like we feel cooped up. That's one of the phrases. We're stuck in this kind of, we're penned in. And we're like, when this is all over, I'm going to go do something again. Because the thing is, what this research with ACCOR showed very clearly is the number one thing we miss is friends and family. For me, I'm like, when this is all over, should we go out and get pissed? Or should we go out and, I want to go see my mum. I want to take my kids to go see my mum at the coast. And I want to, spend time with my dad and his wife, But the number two thing is holidays, weekends away, traveling, exploring. We like to get out. We're explorers at heart, And I think when this is all over is a statement of frustration at being cooped up, but also there's this sense of positive optimism that this is what's coming down the line, and I feel really positive about it, even though it's a fun phrase.
You got to look on the kind of the glass being half full, I suppose, as they say. And well explained. And the things we used to do pre-COVID. Do you think when we come out of this, people will take life less for granted?
Great question and a great point you brought up. Absolutely, I think it's made us realise what we had and how lucky we were, and. Just think of the idea of going to a comedy club or going to a festival or having drinks with your friends or just not having to stop. Look, we don't live in a controlled society. Have you ever looked at the way that, sort of Soviet era countries lived, where they were worried and they couldn't necessarily do this, that and the other? We are super free. We've been so lucky. And for 1 year, it's been a real pain. But if you get the chance to get out again, I think we're going to really appreciate it. And if we look at gifting this Christmas, I hope that this could be a sort of turning point. This is what I hope is going to happen, because people are starting to realise that the research showed that 70% of people already recognise that experiences are better than material goods at making us happy. And I don't know if you know much about my background. I've written a couple of books on this, and I've stolen the ideas from people much cleverer than me, psychologists, anthropologists, sociologists at Oxford and Cambridge, and the LSE and MIT, and I want 100% of people to realise that experiences make us happier. And experiential gifts, if you were to give somebody, one of these Accor gift cards, or you give them a hotel stay somewhere, because I think a hotel stay is like a springboard for stuff to happen. Because when you go somewhere, you meet people you like, you meet people you don't like, you meet people that are boring, people that are exciting, things go wrong, things happen, and that gives you a story. And a story is a connection, happiness.
That's great. And I can add like music concerts as well. People, once it's over, people just want to let the hair down, have a great time. And your key points there, going to move straight on to the next segment now, which is gifting, presenting, and anticipation and excitement when you received a gift from a loved one this Christmas is one of the key elements over then opening the present itself, dare I say.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it that being given, when somebody gives you a gift, Auntie Joan or something gives you a gift, and you have to do that kind of like gift face, oh, thank you so much for this thing. The problem with material gifts is, actually the real problem is if someone buys you something you don't want, they've wasted their money, so that's their bad. You have to do that awkward thing where you have to sort of display it. Maybe if you get a scarf, you have to like wear it when they come over, and then you have to get rid of the thing, right? They haven't given you a present, they've given you a problem. But when you give somebody an experience, especially one where you can kind of choose where and when you go, when you give someone an experience, you're also giving yourself something, interestingly. But the first thing you're giving them is, it's triple value. You're giving them the experience itself. Let's say for the sake of argument, you give them one of these Accor gift cards, right? And they go and stay in, they go to Liverpool for the weekend, right? Go to some of those awesome clubs in Liverpool, all right? Or go to, some festival. Is it called the South Side Weekend or whatever? Go to some festival somewhere, wherever, right? They get the weekend itself. They also get the 3, 4, 5, 6 months run up before that, thinking about it. And in the research with Accor, we saw that 78% of people daydream about an experience, a holiday, once it's booked. So as soon as you give somebody that, you're giving them hope, you're giving them anticipation, which is free happiness. Then they have the experience itself, and then they have that story for the rest, or the stories they come up with that happen to them, that happen when they're there, for the rest of their lives. And if you're the person that's giving a gift to your aunt, your niece, your mum, your dad, whoever, they're going to share that story with you. And when you share a story, and this is, I'm borrowing all of this from neuroscientists and psychologists, stories set off this incredible domino line that leads directly to happiness. So when you tell a story, there's this, neuroscientists believe there's this thing called mirror neurons, or they've discovered mirror neurons, which means if I was telling you a story, Dan, about the time that I was, 5 a.m. in a club or whatever, coming out and jumping up and down and going crazy, you can picture something like that yourself, right? Which is your neurons firing up the same as mine, and that is the physical manifestation of empathy. Empathy is connection, connections relationships, relationships is happiness. So if you give somebody for Christmas, a stay in a hotel, you are setting them up for a story. You're setting them up to be happier, because people like to talk to people that tell stories about when they've been somewhere, and you're setting up yourselves to have a better relationship with that person, and that happiness makes you more successful and enjoy life more. So, and you live longer. People with better relationships live longer, happier, healthier lives. That's from research at Harvard University that's been running for 80 years. So if you want to be happy this Christmas, you want to make other people happy this Christmas and beyond, simple truth is give them an experience gift.
Fascinating. And I'm going to talk about holidays because we're kind of coming towards the end of the interview. So here's 2 questions in one. First one is, do you think we'll be seeing a shift towards more personable, customized gifts this year, like memories? Memories are treasurable, aren't they? They live in your mind forever, like photo frames. And also 25% of people polled are planning to take more holiday next year to compensate for the lack of trips. And 70% say they're feeling the need for a break right now.
I hope people aren't buying photo frames. I mean, photo frames have their place, right? Keep your memories and display them. Don't just put them away somewhere. That's really important. What makes me laugh about those stats is the thing about statistics is people tell you things, but the truth is everyone's going to holiday more next year because we can. And isn't that great news? That's really, I think that's the simple message here is, people, and this came from the research with Accor, more than half of people will be thrilled to receive an experience gift. And they're clever because that will be better for their mental health. They'll get that free joy from happiness and having something to look forward to. It's a bit like a bicycle. If you've got something to aim towards, something to go towards, something to look forward to, you will be happier.
And this is quite philosophical. When that moment doesn't arrive, there's always that next time, isn't there? So not this time, but there's always next time, whatever circumstance or scenario that is. There's always next time to go on holiday, to see your partner, whatever you want to do in life. See that music concert as well. Touch wood.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things that this year's been really good about, because it's made us realise that actually there isn't always next time. And so you better take your chance when you get it. So therefore, this Christmas, don't mess around. Don't buy some, crappy material gift. Give somebody an experience. This is your chance. This Christmas is your chance to do it. And then they're going to look forward to it. And then every chance you get to go to that concert. I'm not saying people always need to be out, but, to have those experiences, to go stay in that hotel, to take that weekend away. For me, that's a really important thing. That will bring a happier Christmas, more stories, and a happier 2021. So I just want to say happy Christmas to all of your listeners, right. Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful. Well, there's so much more I wanted to ask you, but time is against us. So in a nutshell, I suppose it's best to just tell the listener, this Christmas, if you're planning on buying that gift for someone, put an extra effort into it to make it extra special.
And go to accor-giftcards.com. You give something like that, people get to choose where and when they go. They're going to be really happy, and you'll talk about the experience. Dan, happy Christmas to you.
All the best to you. Many happy returns.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.